If you would open your word with me to the book of Genesis, the 43rd chapter and the 23rd verse. And it reads, it's up on the screen, "It's all right," he said. "Don't be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, has given you treasure in your sacks. I received your silver." Then he brought Simeon out to them. Treasure, as defined by the dictionary, is a quantity of precious metals, gems, or other valuable objects. The synonyms for treasure would be riches, valuables, jewels, gems, money, cash, or fortune. However, according to the Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, the word treasure in this particular passage of Scripture is defined as a secret valuable or hidden riches. What Joseph's brothers were being told by the servant is what God is saying to us, his daughters, tonight. Within each and every one of us, there is a valuable, a secret valuable, hidden riches beyond anything we could imagine. You will hear me say this repeatedly. Your treasure is not your money. Your money is not your treasure. Look at what the servant said to the brothers. "The God of your fathers has given you treasure in your sack. I have your silver." He made a total distinction between silver and treasure, between money and the secret valuable. The servant said to Joseph's brothers, their God, the God of their father, had placed the treasure in their sack. The treasure that you are, no man can give you. You know, when the first song that we sang tonight, the anointing just fell on me so powerfully because I knew what God was saying. And as Pastor Treva was standing up there and she was speaking to us, and before she even started into worship and praise, you know, she was saying things to all of us, and I knew, okay, God, this is your confirmation. And what he wants us to understand tonight, what he wants us to understand for the rest of our lives, is what valuable treasures we are. God has placed this treasure within you, and it's far more valuable than anyone could ever imagine. The treasure in the sack of Joseph's brothers, our treasures as well, our children's treasure, and generations we have yet to see, came through and will come through the covenant that the previous generation had with God. As Moses told Israel in Deuteronomy 9, it's not because of our righteousness or because we've been so good that we have been given treasures. It's not because we've earned it, given enough tithe or offerings for it. There's nothing that we could do. It's not because we fasted and prayed and been so good. It's all because of the glory of God that he will reveal in us and through us the treasure that he has placed within us. It comes through the covenant that we have with him. As we all know, that covenant is generational. As the Lord had me to speak to someone tonight, covenant is generational. Certain treasures, like family antiques, family stories, recipes, histories, and pictures, are passed from generation to generation. And yet, although they're generational treasures, they are generational treasures, there will also be treasures within us that we will receive individually. There's some things that may have been passed on to you. You know, the treasure that your mother had within her. My mother was a very, very cheerful giver. My mother would give our clothes. And we didn't have a lot. But mother loved to give. And when she died, she was still, you know, before she died, she was still giving and giving and giving. That's just who she was. And that was something before she knew, when she was a little girl and was being Catholic, before she really knew anything about being a cheerful giver. That was just a gift that she had. She loved to give. And I just hope that's something that's passed on through me. I've learned as a Christian to be a giver. But with my mother, it was something different. So that's something that I'm hoping that God has passed on to me. I'm talking about my mother, but my mother went home to be with the Lord in October of last year, and 96 years old, and just, she was just wonderful. And one of the things she left was this bracelet. And because my initials are so similar to hers, I have the bracelet and I wear her bracelet. They don't make these anymore, but hey, I love it. It was something passed on to me. There are things that are being passed on to you, but then there are things that you will receive individually. Things that God will place in you that He didn't place in your parents or grandparents. There are items of value and worth that you alone will receive and be responsible for. But again, we must understand that money is not our treasure. Your treasure is not your gift, although it's a gift to you. Again, the word treasure in the Bible is defined as a secret, valuable, or hidden riches. For many of us, our treasures are still hidden and secret. Many years ago, when I first purchased my home, where I'm living right now, I had 3 distinct dreams at 3 different times. I think within the first year that I lived in that house, that they were hidden rooms that I just happened to find, like a hidden door or something. You know how those old movies are. But I found these hidden rooms in my house. My house, like I said, is very old, and the original owners had added on at least 2 or 3 times throughout the life of the house. Because the additions of the house don't really flow that well, it could be easy to kind of think that, well, maybe there are some hidden rooms in here. But what God did, He showed me, just like that house doesn't flow normally, neither would my life. However, in that house, like I said, I think the first year, I had 3 different dreams that I found these hidden rooms. And every time in every room, there were treasures. They were like one room, there was like china, this beautiful china, and very, very expensive porcelain, things like that. And then one room, I don't remember what was in another room, but one of the rooms, I had no idea what these objects were, but I knew they were very, very valuable. And I remember the Lord saying to me that there were gifts, there were treasures within me that I was not even aware of. And we need to understand each of us has treasures that we're not even aware of. There's something within each and every one of you that no one knows about except you and God. You may not be able to identify it right away, but know that it's there. The thing that is within you is so precious, so anointed, and so great that sometimes, just for a short time, it will have to remain hidden even from you as it was from the brothers of Joseph. Your treasure will be that thing that seems to be beyond you, out of your reach. For some, it will be the valuable that you can see in others. You know how you can see something in somebody else? Have you ever heard someone sing, and then, they're sitting down admiring someone else singing, and then when you hear them sing, you're like, girl, you have a voice. But they never realized it. And that's the way it is sometimes with gifts and with treasures, with the treasures that we are. You can see them in others, but you don't even realize the treasure that you are, the treasure that you have within you. As I was speaking to our mother back here, and you don't realize what a treasure you are. You are truly a treasure, not just to your children, but to those around you. And we need to, as they say, we need to wake up and smell the coffee. Your treasure will be that thing, like I said, that seems to be beyond you. For others, you can see your treasure but not realize its value. Many treasures are in museums to be admired and not lost. They're displayed for pleasure. They're in museums so that they will not be lost, stolen, or mishandled. They're there to be appreciated, but unfortunately, again, not touched or used in the manner that they were created for. This morning, the Lord spoke to me in Esther, the first chapter of Esther, concerning Queen Vashti. And I wasn't sure if he wanted me to share this tonight or not. I put it in my notes, but I wasn't even sure if I was going to share it tonight. But nonetheless, what happened was that we know the story, how the king sent for her when he was having this big feast and everything, and he sent for her to wear her crown so he could show her off. He wanted her to be seen. And that's the way some people handle treasures. Now, a lot of theologians will say different things as to why she refused to go. Okay, that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about tonight. What we're talking about and what God wants us to understand is that you are a treasure that he will use at the right time. And when he says it's time for him to use you, we have to understand we can't refuse. We can't refuse. He's not accepting, I'm so shy. Well, I've never spoken before people before, or they wouldn't want me. That is not what he wants to hear. When he says it's time for him to display his treasure, he's going to use you to display his treasure. Amen? We must understand that when God chooses to use his treasures, he would never misuse, abuse, or embarrass us in any way. We are not museum pieces just for display. Understand your purpose, your gift, and the treasures that you have, as well as the treasure you are. Not only are you a treasure, you have treasures. As the Lord spoke to someone earlier tonight, as I always say, we have to learn to love ourselves before we can love others. And as he spoke to her, loving ourselves is not being stuck on ourselves. If you can't love yourself, then you really can't love others the way they should be loved. And so it is with treasures. If you can't see the treasure in yourself, you won't be able to see and appreciate the treasures in others. Look at the person sitting next to you. Just look at the person sitting next to you, behind you, in front of you. Look at someone and say, I am a treasure. Say it like you mean it. I am a treasure. Say it with attitude. Okay. Now, don't let me have to get my little great grandbaby, my little great granddaughter up here to tell you how to say it. Okay. Because she is nothing nice. But you are a treasure. Now look at that same person and say, yes, I am a treasure. And when you look at yourselves in the mirror, you can say, I'm a treasure. When you go home tonight, when you're driving home and you look in the rearview mirror, and you look at yourself, girl, you're a treasure. Because you are. We need to see our parents, mates, our children, and siblings for the treasures that they are. Again, treasure is not money, so don't equate or put monetary value on your treasure. Everyone will not be able to see your treasures, and that's all right. Some may see your treasures and misunderstand their purpose, which would cause them to abuse them. For these people, step away. You don't want to be with someone who's going to abuse your treasures. And at the same time, we cannot misunderstand the purpose of our treasure. I always quote from Dr. Miles Monroe when he said, if you don't know the proper use of a thing, you will get abuse. So if you don't know, or if a person doesn't know the proper use of your treasure, they will abuse it. So if you're around people that don't understand or appreciate your treasure or appreciate you for the treasure that you are, then you need to step away from them. Learn to handle your treasure and those with treasures as treasures should be handled. I was reading the first chapter of Job. He had lost everything: his cattle, his sheep, his camel, and his children. The Lord began to speak to my spirit and say, when the enemy attacks, it's not just us that experience the ramifications and consequences. It's our children, mates, and those that love us as well. Never forget, when you're going through your issues, your children are too. So we have to remember, again, how to handle those treasures. Your mate is being affected by the events in your life. Job's wife totally lost faith when she told Job to curse God and die. But Job maintained his integrity. We cannot take out our frustrations and the issues we're dealing with on others. We can't take these things out on others. When we react negatively, rudely, and mean towards others because of what we're going through, we cause them to stumble. When you cause someone to stumble, that means you're handling them in a way that God never ordained. And we know what the word says, Matthew 18. It says, if anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Don't lose your children because you can't see the treasures that they are. And don't lose yourself because you can't see the treasure that you are. Don't lose them or yourself because your treasures aren't like someone else's. That's okay. Don't lose your treasure because you're going through your own issues. 1 Chronicles, the 26th chapter, at the 8th verse in the New International Version reads, all these were descendants of Obed-Edom. They and their sons and their relatives were capable men with the strength to do the work, descendants of Obed-Edom, 62 in all. As Proverbs tells us concerning the woman of great worth, whose value is far beyond rubies. Again, it's not how much money she had, because her value was beyond a monetary issue. What made her so valuable was her character. The Classic Amplified Version reads, a capable, intelligent, and a virtuous woman, who is he who can find her? Your treasure, your value, just what Pastor Treva stood here tonight and said. It's not in your looks or your weight or your shape, but in your capabilities. Your values, your treasure is not how well you do your makeup. And I tell myself that, I promise, I tell myself that. I do makeup because I like it. But it does not add value to my character. It adds absolutely nothing to my character. It adds nothing to my gifts. So when you understand the treasure that you are, there are going to be things you do because you like to do them, and that's okay. But it does not determine how valuable you are. The sons and descendants of Obed-Edom were capable people with the strength to do the work. We are capable people. We are capable women. We are strong and able. And we need to understand that. You know, I don't go to the gym the way I used to. After COVID, I stopped going to the gym, and that's something that when you get out of the habit of doing it, it's hard to get the habit back. But I loved being strong. And even now, I still love I want to be a strong woman, and I'm talking about physically strong. Okay, I feel that I'm a capable woman. And when I look at you, when I look at each and every one of you, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing capable women. You know, there was a time that we were supposed to, you know, when I was a girl coming up and in my mother's day, and you know, it was nice for us to be, I'm just a girl, and he'll take care of me, and a roach. You know, you're like, you know, just Yeah, I know I'm scared of all of the warfare and all of the demons that we crush. And we're supposed to be scared of a roach? Some of the nightmares that, and we call them nightmares, but in actuality, some of the things that you have seen in dreams and visions that God was allowing you to see into the spirit realm, horrendous things, and you need somebody to come and pick something up for you? We are capable women. We can do this. We've got the strength. We have raised children by ourselves. We have birthed children. Some of us, I had to have cesarean. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it natural. But some of you have done it naturally and was willing to do 5 times, 5 babies. This is the truth. I saw, some of you may have seen it. I had these pants hemmed and they're still too long. Some of you may have seen this. They did not an experiment because it was real, but what they did, they had this machine and they hooked it up to men so that they could simulate, y'all remember seeing that? Birth pains, that labor pains. You talking about wimps? Wimps? Total wimps. They couldn't do it. No offense, men. They just couldn't do it. Say that again? They weren't designed for it. You have that treasure. You have that capability. You have that strength. You have that power. You have the strength to do the work that God has called you to do. You may not be doing it right now, and that's okay. But you still have the strength. You're still capable, and you have the ability or the quality necessary to achieve what you have been purposed for. If your treasures are not being used at this moment, don't worry. They will be if you allow our Father to do through you and with you what He wants to do. However, in spite of whether you're being used at this moment or not, you still have to know that God has placed treasures within you. God, the God that we serve, has placed treasure, your treasure, in your sack. Like the woman in Proverbs 31, part of your treasure is your intelligence, and most importantly, your virtue and your character. That's something that you hear me talk about constantly. Morals, honor, integrity, character. And we don't talk about virtue enough to our young people anymore. We need to I remember as a young girl, my grandmother saying, hold on to your virginity. Don't give your virginity up. And we can still teach our young people this. We need to help them to learn from the mistakes of others, from our mistakes. You have no idea the things that you are capable of accomplishing. So much more than you realize. Now, you will never be able to accomplish what Pastor Treva does, because that's not what you're called to do. Besides, Pastor Treva is superwoman. You know, she's superhuman. You all know, again, I listen at her and I just, I don't know how she does it. In all sincerity, I have this in my notes. As I was sitting at my desk receiving this word, I heard God speak to my spirit and say, there are those whose treasure capability is to support others. Then I wrote, I don't know who Pastor Treva's support is, but she wouldn't be able to be the superwoman that she is without them. To Pastor Treva, she or he or they are her treasures. Now there she is right there. And what you say? And you're grateful. The support that they give her makes them treasures to her. When she can call Joanna, or she can call whoever and say, go get Sister B from the airport, or go do this, or do that, or do, she's delegating. But if she didn't have people that she could trust and depend on, that makes them valuable, more than valuable. They're a treasure. So often I've heard people who are referred to as book smart, but no common sense. It's the same with so many on just the opposite side. Maybe they don't have the education, the schooling, or the learning with BAs or masters or PhDs. In other words, they may not have the college degrees, but their common sense and capabilities places them far beyond average in their achievements. It's their intelligence and wisdom that places them as treasures. But we can never, ever take our treasures for granted. Never take yourself for granted. Never let anyone else take you for granted. Understand what a blessing you are. Understand how powerful you are. Understand how smart you are. When you're standing at the stove and you're cooking food, and it blessed me so. My little granddaughter has her own apartment now, and she's a mother and she's doing well. I'm so proud of her. Unfortunately, she did get pregnant before she was married, and she's still not married, but she never missed a beat. She stayed in school. She went to college. And now she's moving out of her parents' house, and she's got her own apartment. And what really blessed me, she called me one night, and she says, Nana, I want to fix this particular dish that you fixed. So, and of course, with the iPad and the phones and FaceTime and all these things, Zoom and all this stuff, I said, well, okay. I said, I'm going to cook some tomorrow, whenever. I said, and I'm going to show you how it's done. And she just went step by step. I showed her how to fix a roux, how to cook a roux, and how to brown her roux, and how to cut up her seasoning and things like this. These are things that we take for granted. We take these things, well, this is just what we do. You don't realize the intelligence that it takes to accomplish some of these things. Because you can go to the store and buy Popeye's fried chicken or something, but that's not what we do every day. You cook, you clean, you wash, you iron, you do all these. Well, I don't know if y'all still iron nowadays. I still iron. I still iron. Yeah, the older generation, we still iron. Y'all young people, y'all probably don't even own an iron. But we do. But those are minor things. Those are minor things. You do the books. You pay the bills. You take care of the children. You have to recognize when something's wrong with one child, that's not when this child is going away, they shouldn't be going. So you're not only a doctor, you're nurses and psychologists and all of the rest of the things. And even with all of that in the natural, you're still warriors. And you stand up and you tell the enemy, not in my house, not my child. And even when the child is still going to hell on a banana peel, slipping into hell on a banana peel, you will not give up. You have not stopped praying. You will not let go. And you're still staring him down, and you're still saying, not my child. As I was saying to this woman right here, if you could see the damage that you've done to the kingdom of the enemy, you have no idea. You have no idea what you have done. Because you prayed, and you will not stop praying, and you believe. But you still don't recognize what treasures you are. You have no idea the people who have gone into the kingdom or who will enter into the kingdom because of your prayers. because of who you are. What kind word did you say to someone that changed their life? You don't know. What smile did you give somebody that made them feel so much better? You don't even know. The time that you wish you would have punched somebody, but you didn't. You didn't, and because you didn't, they lived. You have no idea how many times I would say to God, when I was raising my granddaughter, can I kill her? Lord, can I just kill her? When she made 13, I don't know what happened. I don't know who she was. But I would literally say to God, can I kill her? And then when because she is such a pretty girl. I've told you all the story. Those of you that were here last year, year before last, when we went to the store together, and I'm right there with her, and these men are looking at her, and I just walked up to them and I said, I'm an ordained minister, and that's my granddaughter. I can do what I do from prison. And I did not crack a smile. I can have a prison ministry behind her. You don't look at her like that. And I'm right here with her. But they lived. They're still alive. Well, I guess they're still alive. But I knew I had the capabilities. And I would have asked God for the strength of Samson to knock them so hard, how they say they would have ended up on the west side of hell, wherever that would be. You have strength and capabilities within you that will amaze even you if you sat down to realize what a powerful, anointed treasure you truly are.